We have too much information. And I've been thinking about that a lot, about how we live in the era of information. And if we have so much overload of information all the time, are we going to become sick of information and crave the opposite? What is the opposite of information? Personality? I don't know. So, this is all the information that we have, kind of like little computers. I think about all the YouTubers. I stumbled upon a video about interior design, and I felt like the YouTuber was just reading off of a script written by AI, and although it had so much information, it was missing. This is all of the information in that YouTube video, and it's funneling, it's flowing, it's coming, and here's him. Here's that YouTuber. The information was flowing through him, but it was getting stuck. It was coming out like this, like little, because I don't think we want information. Here's the little sparkles of soul, human soul, that are just floating around us, disappearing by the moment. This is what we want, is what we crave. We don't want this. We want this. All right, now I've got my forms on the canvas. So I look at this and I see the information and the YouTuber and the human soul and the bits of information that are, he's forcing them out, but they're not coming out genuinely and authentically because he's reading from a script. So now you might see nonsense. That's okay. This is how I have to make something unique. I start with something. I'm gonna get my paint. I usually like to paint with oils, but lately I really enjoy layering my tempera over my paint, and I'm too impatient to wait for the oil paint to dry, so we're gonna go with acrylics. This is one piece of information about something. How to build a log cabin, perhaps. This is a different information. With little, it's all attached, it's all connected. There's more information connected to this information. How much information do we think there really is in the world? Infinite? But were we ever meant to know everything? This information up here is connected to this information as well. Maybe the secondary, tertiary source. I don't like how square these are and how flat they are on the background. I really like using oils normally because I can blend and get that painterly effect. So we just gotta go fast. Information moves quickly anyways. So here we go. Fast information all around us, constantly. The cloud. I'm gonna paint. Here we are. Here is the cloud. Oops, that's okay. That's a cloud of information. Maybe I want some glaze. I want to be able to see the information in the cloud. Dang it, I don't have glaze. I grew up very religious, and so you hear a lot about the Antichrist, and if there is an Antichrist, I believe it's technology. Okay, let's get back to painting. Technology distracts us from our purpose, which I believe is to create. We don't create when we just consume. Technology divides us. But don't stop watching, please. Little pieces of soul coming off of it. See, it crumbles easily once it's contagious. Once you just see a little bit of it in someone else and you get inspired. I don't really know what my hand is doing. I just let it do what it wants. That's when I surrender to my imagination and my intuition, and I let my intuition paint for me. I don't know why I want to do this, and it doesn't matter why. I must obey my intuition. I do feel like I'm gonna add a little bit of human touch in here. How can this be creativity without a human fingerprint? We cannot create without hands. Well, you probably can. There are lots of ways to hold a paintbrush. We have so many limbs available. Where we step back and take a sip of coffee and we regret everything because this looks terrible. But that's good. We keep going. It's part of the process. That's how you know it's good. You know what doesn't look bad in the middle of it? Information. That's how you know it's fake. That's how you know it's not good stuff. No, we don't need it. How much happier were we when we didn't know things? So much happier. We died sooner, but that's fine because we didn't know we were dying sooner. We thought we were dying normal. We do need some red because red is bold. I'm feeling bold. Everything matters. Okay, we need some oils. We need some oil. We gotta lubricate our creativity. That's a lot. That's perfect. Because a lot is the perfect amount when you have a lot to say. Okay. Here's our YouTuber. Probably a great guy. Probably a creative guy. Probably has a lot of thoughts. Probably has a lot of his own words that he could have said. And because he did not believe in himself, because he doubted his own words, his own interpretations, his own ability to read and recite and paraphrase, he became just another conduit of information. And here's how it got into him. See, but here's what he could have said, right? Here's his imagination. Here's his creativity. He had so much of it available. All he had to do was read the information and then tell us the information that he remembered. Tell us the parts that he liked. Tell us a story from his childhood of his the ugliest room in his house. Here it all is. Here's his life that he's lived, right? Here's his little blossoms of his imagination, his creativity. But instead, here's what came out. Doesn't even deserve a paintbrush. It came out short and choppy and thick. It strangled it. Okay, I've just been giving off, guys. Let's actually get serious here. Let's get in some. What can I do with this? What have I done? Okay, I need to sit. I'm wearing a brand new shirt. I better not get paint on it. Will I ever learn? No, because I want to paint and look good and fashionable. Is that a crime? I don't want this background to be so flat. We need some dimension down here, but I don't want it to blend in with this. So I'm going to go with some of a kind of a brown. Actually, I kind of am feeling an olive green. It just feels right. And sometimes that's all that matters, is what feels right. Not in life. You won't get very far doing that, but in art. Wow. I like that. I like that a lot. Because the backdrop of this imagination, over here is not just black. No, the human mind is full of colors, and ideas don't just float in isolation. They are suspended amongst galaxies of spirit and memory and feelings. And that's the difference between imagination and information. Information sits in the black void. Imagination floats, it's alive, it's moving, it's breathing. It is always connected. Everything is connected to everything. And so here is the imagination. And here's where it ended. Because it cannot live in harmony with information. Imagination is the rejection of information. Imagination is saying, I don't believe that that is all there is. I don't believe that I should stop seeking. I want to know what else is out there, and I'm going to create it myself. And kind of like good and evil, imagination always wins. Here it is. It's circling. It's winning. It always is going to win in the end. Except if robots kill us all. But robots will not be in the afterlife, so we will win. The imagination, see how it fills. It fills emptiness. What the heck am I painting? Oh no. This is so ugly. But that's okay. That's part of the process, right? Right? I hope so. I do fear I perhaps have strayed from my original idea a little bit. One of my favorite mediums is the tempera stick because I cannot afford oil sticks. This is reminding me of a phoenix, some kind of bird, but evil because it took over, right? It's smothering. Here's its tail. It's smothering. What was this? This was the human soul. So this right here is the Antichrist, probably, of technology. This is technology, the Antichrist. And its wings have some long feathers that go all the way to the top. Actually, all of its feathers are going to the top because it's made of this information back here. See? Feathers consumed by information. It flies. Instead of gravity, it relies on information. Scary. It's really scary. There are these feathers that reach the top, and that's gone now. So that's a sign from our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, not the Antichrist, to stop. So, where did that just go? Oh, I'm liking it already. Anytime you don't like something, you're starting to grow tired of what you're seeing, switch mediums. Move up a plane. If what you're looking at looks flat and one-dimensional, imagine that now you have placed a piece of plexiglass above it, on top of it, and start a new layer that doesn't have to follow the forms of the underlayer. See, I drew on top of what was here because this is a new layer. I've entered a new dimension, a new plane on top of this dimension. And see, now if I want to add yet another dimension on top of my bird, my phoenix here, I can draw something right across all of it because I'm on a whole new layer. See, and what is this? This is nothing. It can be anything. It can be anything. It can be nothing. It doesn't have to be anything. You can add anything you want, and it does not matter. It's your world. It's your painting. And maybe later you decide what it is. Maybe later you look at it and you're like, that's what that is. So here, I really wish I had a black tempera stick, but I've used it all up. I've also used white. Those are my two favorites. Darn, love it. It's going to really ruin the vibe. So much fun. My husband would just ask me why I'm smiling so much, and I'm like, because I love to paint. I'm just having so much fun. I abandoned realism, and a lot of people, I've gotten comments specifically from a woman named Cindy who said, I just don't understand why you're giving up your talent, which thank you, by the way. Because when I'm painting with an end goal in mind, for example, copying a photograph, I'm in a rush to get to the finish line. I already know what it's going to look like. There is no surprise. when I create like this, I have no idea what I'm gonna make. That is what makes it so fun. Now, since I have no oil, you know what? Do we have a green, an olive green? We don't really have an olive green. We do have this dark green. I'm not sure though if we do have sort of this olive green brown chalk, and I want to go around. I really like the contrast of these colors, and so here are all of, here's his words in that darn YouTube video about how to make your rooms in your house look better. And it was really good information. That's the sad part. The part that frustrated me is like, if he just humanized it a little bit, it was so information dense, and not in a he's really smart kind of way, which he probably is. It was like, I'm going to read directly off of this script using such unnatural human language that nobody would select on their own. Right, it's hard to follow. Anyways, it was so hard to follow that I turned the video off, because when I click on a video, I don't just click on, hello, where'd you go? Oh my gosh. Well, maybe that's a sign. That's a sign that I'm done. I'm done with what I was doing. Amazing how the universe works like that. Ooh, I have a red chalk right here. I'm going to use it because we don't waste. Oh, I have a white chalk. That's beautiful. Well, I'm going to use my white paint actually. So I need a small little itty bitty brush. How about this is okay. This thing coming across, it is going to have some white in it because that's just kind of what my soul is telling me it's going to have. And that's the thing. Sometimes I feel like I am simply a vessel, and whatever comes through me is from beyond. I was thinking last night, I think a lot actually about the existential question of why are we here, and is there a creator? Is there a God that created us? And if he is, I often think that he must be an artist, right? Because he created so much from nothing, and it's mind-boggling. I mean, just think about trying to think of a new color, and you can't. So imagine a sentient being being capable of first imagining everything around us, every DNA sequence, every formation of rocks, every leaf, every tree, every organ in our body. Anyways, last night I was like, well, why? Why would he create us, And then I was like, well, why do I create? But then I was like, well, it's kind of crazy that he created us and we have the ability to create. And then I started thinking, imagine if I could paint a painting. I painted 5 paintings, and then I could sit back and my 5 paintings would paint their own little paintings. That'd be really fun to sit back and watch. What would they create? I don't know. Is that why God made us, to sit back and watch what we create? And it's like an infinite spawning of paintings. I don't know. But those are the things I think about. Actually, like 80% of the time. How can you not contemplate existence, all of existence, when you're painting? It just, there, that feels good. You can't even see what I'm doing. No. It's all smeared downward now. Down to where the Antichrist came from. Okay. But at the same time, he's kind of flat and like one-dimensional, and I don't really like that. So there needs to be something else back here. It just, besides the black, it's too black for me. I think I'm going to put more of the olive green back there because I just want to. So here we go. Oh, there we go. I don't want my world to feel so flat. So this needs to blend in a little bit. And if I was more patient, I would probably do more like layering of my paints. Let this dry, maybe glaze over some of it. But I can't do that because I like to paint and then be done and then on to the next. And so there we go. He sort of blended in with the creativity, which is what he needed to do in the beginning. If he, there we go. Right? He is human. You know what's really interesting? I read, obviously, I just stated that I grew up really religious, and so I'm always, contemplating existence. And I read a long time ago in a book the history of human evolution as we know it scientifically. There was a point in our evolution as a species where we got so smart that our head sizes dramatically increased at one specific moment in time, which I remember thinking, that's so ironic. That reminds me of the creation story of Adam and Eve. But because of that, and because we're bipedal creatures, meaning we walk on two legs, it meant that our pregnancies had to become shorter. All within one very small time period, our heads got bigger, we got smarter, we gained consciousness, and now our pregnancies had to be shorter, which means now, which by the way, that kind of weirdly also lines up with God saying in the origin story of Adam and Eve, now your childbirth will be painful. And so thinking about this and the information, we continue to acquire more and more information, right? What's going to happen 1,000 years from now if humans are still here and we have twice as much information? Will our head size increase yet again? And what will be the effect of that on our species? Will our pregnancies have to become even shorter? Or will we have to learn to walk on all four limbs? I'm going to draw that. So here's all that information. So here's us on all four limbs, because it's the price we're going to have to pay for all this information, right? So here's a human being. But to make it look a little bit less childlike, like a child drew a horse, the human being maybe doesn't have to look like a human being because it's the future. It's also my world. And so this is symbolic of a human being, just a little bit different. More of our little human creativity bursts up here that we didn't do anything with. And here's another one. They're everywhere, remember? They're like little sparks that are going out. They're gonna go extinct if we go on all four legs, probably. We're not gonna be able to be very imaginative. Probably a lot of our brain power is gonna go towards controlling all four limbs. So here we go. Some more imagination. Okay. Now, I'm feeling like she's getting close to finished. But I love tempera sticks too much. I might be ruining it. Who knows? Here's our guy. He kind of got lost. Here he is. Here's that YouTuber. Here's the connecting point. Remember where he got connected? Now, I do feel like at a certain point during a painting, sometimes I feel like I've done too much. Sometimes I look back and I'm like, yeah, I should have stopped there. And I'm kind of feeling like that here. I think I need to take some away. Sometimes you have to take something away in general, like a boyfriend. I don't know. Okay, so kind of feeling like that up near my information. It's okay to cover things up, and sometimes we change our minds halfway through our painting. Sometimes we outgrow something we painted 5 minutes ago, and that's fine. Art is evolving, it's living, breathing with us. Can't expect it to stay the same. There we go. Wow. I have no idea what I've done. This is definitely, it's definitely something. That's for sure. I do feel like this is nighttime, and I want to illuminate the nighttime with some stars. So I'm just gonna give myself some chalk, but the stars don't have to be dots. It's my world. They can be little lines. They can be where I want them to be. They don't have to be everywhere. They can just be here and maybe up here a little bit, because this is the Night Phoenix. Evil characters always do have a little bit of clout. They do seem cool. So, I mean, AI does seem cool, right? So here's the stars around the Night Phoenix. What would I even name this painting? The Night Phoenix or Technology is the Antichrist? I don't know. I feel like part of what I've been having a lot of fun with lately is naming my paintings like really, really human, unique names, like The Week I Lived in the Refrigerator Box, because I just think that AI really would, like, I am in my subconscious rebellion against AI at the moment. And I just feel like, for example, AI, I don't think could ever, nobody would be able to look at this and know what this is. That's my favorite part about painting like this. Just like the painting that I did a few days ago, all right? The night Shaggy never came back to life. Nobody would look at that and know that that's my dead guinea pig in a shoebox next to my bunk bed on the floor overnight in my bedroom, right? And that's what makes it so fun. That's why I love painting intuitively, on a serious note. And that's also why I have to start with something in my head. Otherwise, I'm just going to end up painting the same repetitive shapes. But by thinking of something and then going off of that, I'm able to come up with something completely, first of all, very personal to me. This has meaning to me now. Second of all, it's very unique. I do feel confident about that. All right, as with most of my paintings, I'm probably gonna end up coming back to this, adding to it, playing with it, letting it evolve. But this is where we are at the end of this painting session. So thank you for painting along with me, and I hope that you try creating like this yourself this week. Have a great day, guys. Go get creative. Go try to paint intuitively. Okay. Have a great day, guys. Go get creative and put your soul on a canvas. See how good it feels. All right, really fast. My husband's telling me what he sees, and this is one of my favorite parts. He sees what? Step back. You saw a cat. Okay. You saw a person and cactuses.
I see. It's kind of. I think it's picking out an animal at like the adoption center. Here's the animal with the big long tail and the legs, and then there's the head floating. And then here's the man and here's the woman, and they're both looking at the animal. And then they're like, the rest of it is the PetSmart with all the crazy stuff, and maybe there's fish around, but the main center point is they're looking, and they picked it. See, they're like, yay, and they're surrounding it, and then it pops out a baby under it too.
Okay, do you want to know what it actually is?
Yeah, it's not even close.
Technology is the Antichrist.
Oh my gosh, I was so close. I was right on.
Okay, this is all the information, right? This is the YouTuber I was telling you about making his video, right? But it was so information dense. It started out, it was all this information. And then it's like, oh, this is how it came out of him. Like he couldn't get it out. Like, it's just not human. But meanwhile, here's what he could have made. He could have just embraced the humanity, you know? And then this was like, I smeared this, and then it became like, well, that looks kind of like a phoenix. Kind of looks evil. Kind of looks like this is technology. This is AI. This is the Antichrist. And it's like an evil red phoenix right in the middle.
Geez, so the evil part is what I thought.
And that
was
is humans, we're going to eventually have so much information. We're bipedal creatures. We're going to have to either have shorter pregnancies or learn to walk on 4 legs.
So that's us with 4 legs.
That's something alive right there. That's us. Yeah.
So I was right about one thing.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be a living thing.
Yeah.
But I was saying that's the fetus and that's the animal.
No, that's humans in the future, and this is AI.
Is that the poop?
No, that's human creativity.
Ah.
We have there's little bits of it here, 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 here.
What do you think, Jack?
Jack's hungry.